Gajah Mada. Good afternoon, sir. Professor Sudaryono, Chairman of Engineering Faculty Senat. Good afternoon, sir. All honored Vice Deans, all faculty Senate members, head of departments, and all participants. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We welcome you all to this webinar with the topic of Scientific Excellence in Higher Education. It is our honor, sir, to have you here, Professor De Guy, as a guest lecturer for our today event. This event is organized by the Engineering Faculty Senat, and my name is Moses Gregory, and I'm honored to be the Master of Ceremony for today's event. To open today's event, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to Indonesian National Anthem, Indonesia Raya, and Hymne Gajah Mada. Ladies and gentlemen, this event will be officially opened by the Dean of Engineering Faculty, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Please welcome Professor Sel. The time is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and good morning for Philip de Goy in the Netherlands. As a Dean, I'm pleased to welcome you to the guest lecture today with the topic Scientific Excellence in Higher Education with Professor Philip de Goy, Dean of Mechanical Engineering of the U Eindhoven, the Netherlands. Professor Philip de Goy is author and co-author of more than 400 scientific publications. He has experienced many years in developing higher education institutions toward world-class educational systems, including experiences in creating inter-parties, research community collaborations among university, industry, governments, and student team, with his well-known concept from lab to industry and society. I would like thanks to the chairman of Fakulty Senat, Professor Sudaryono, for his excellent idea of establishing this guest lecture, to Professor Din Darlianto and teams for his wonderful efforts so that we can have Professor Philip de Goy together with us today, and to all staff for their excellent support. I believe that by participating in this lecture, we are in the right place and the right times. Together we will learn, absorb knowledge from what Professor Philip de Goy will present and share to us today. For example, how the U Eindhoven handles these pandemic situations and ensuring smooth transitions in research and education. How TU Eindhoven can accelerate interdisciplinary research and many other interesting ones. Let us accelerate the exchange of ideas and scalings of good practices so that we can contribute more to develop Indonesia. I wish you all enjoy with this very successful guest lecture today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Selo, for the welcome speech. The next speech will be a welcoming speech and an introduction from the chairman of Engineering Faculty Senat, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Please welcome Professor Sudaryono.
Good morning, Professor de Goy, who is now in European time zones. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. Welcome to Faculty of Engineering at Gadjah Mada University. And thanks very much for being and sharing with us in our today's workshop. Dan Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu for our colleagues from Faculty of Engineering, Gadjah Mada University. Thanks very much for your presence and participation in this afternoon workshop. Today, we have the third workshop of our serial workshop in regards to our program for preparing brief policy for future direction of academic life of Faculty of Engineering. The first and the second workshop we have done in August and September with the first topics of education, research, and community services. And the second topic is managing human resources and infrastructure in the era of post-COVID-19. And today, we have our workshop with Professor de Goy with a very important topic that we need to discuss in deep, that is scientific excellence in higher education. Scientific excellence could be taken as an approach, concepts, or even as a paradigm in managing higher education. scientific excellence cover some fundamental dimension of educational process like excellence in teaching, excellence in the field of research, excellence in connecting science to community through community services or KKN, kuliah kerja nyata, excellence in delivering science to policymakers and industry, and of course, today we have new challenge, excellence in coping with COVID-19. And today's presentation and discussion will be recorded and followed up by a small group discussion of academic Senat in order to catch the points that we could put them in our brief policy for future direction of academic life of Faculty of Engineering. We are very sure that the presentation of Professor De Goey and the discussion that we will make in today's workshop will be very meaningful for our brief policy. The presence and contribution of my colleagues from Gadjah Mada University to today's workshop are very, very appreciated. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Professor Sudaryono. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start our main agenda, we would like to ask your permission to open up your camera. We will have a small photo session. It will be divided into 3 sessions. Our committee here will be taking photos from the first slide until the 3rd slide. Okay, now let's begin taking photos from the first slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. The second slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much for all your participation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to enter the main agenda this afternoon, that it will be consisting of presentation and discussion, which will be led by Professor Din Darlianto. He is a professor from Mechanical Engineering, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Please welcome our moderator, Professor Din Darlianto.
Okay, thank you very much, Moses, for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, Professor De Goey. I'm Din Darlianto from the Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, Universitas Gadjah Mada. First of all, welcome to the audience that attending this lecture. And then I would like to express our gratitude to Professor De Goey from Eindhoven University of Technology in Netherlands, who able to deliver this lecture. As we know, Professor De Goey is a big guy in combustion technology. And then before he start his presentation, please allow me to introduce or to read his personal biography or curriculum vitae. Professor De Goey was born in 4 November in 1958. He received his PhD from the Eindhoven University of Technology in 1988. And also he is a full professor and chair of combustion technology at Mechanical Engineering Department, Technical University of Netherlands. Next, he is also the visiting professor in China and also founder and chair of Board Innovation Foundation Metallog 3C in Netherlands. Ladies and gentlemen, he has held a lot of positions. For example, from 2011 until now, he's the chair of the board or the Dean of Mechanical Engineering, Technology University of Eindhoven. And then he is also hold a lot of position, and he has received also a lot of fellowship and awards, including scientific awards. Presently, he has already awarded the Fellow of Combustion Institute and prestigious Simon Stevin Leadership Award that we call sometimes as Dutch Nobel Prize in 2010. It was a very prestigious award in Netherlands, as we know together. And he has also holds a lot of scientific meeting and reviewing activities, and also member of scientific societies. If we read his publication report, I think we will spend a lot of times, and he has already published 327 in Scopus, and his age index around 46. It is honor of us, and I think we are happy to have his presentation today. And for the optimization of the times, I think I would like to welcome Professor De Goy to deliver his lecture. And Professor De Goy, time is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, you all. Good afternoon to you all. Thank you very much, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Thank you very much, Professor Dir Darlianto. Just now, thank you very much, Professor Suda Kiano, and thank you very much, Professor Selo, for the nice introduction, for the invitation to present my talk today. It's really an honor to me, so I like it very much. So let me try to share my screen with you and see whether this works. Do you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. First the pencil. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, maybe good to indicate that there's already a very good, very long tradition and relationship between the Netherlands and Indonesia. And you see some pictures here of our royal queen and a king with the president and the sultan. And also I understood that last year the king and the queen visited your university, which is very, very nice. And to be also clear, you see that more than 300 alumni from your university are in the Netherlands. So that's also very good news. This indicates the very good, very long tradition and relationship between our countries and our communities, which is very nice. So let me move on. The sheet does not continue for some reason.
Maybe you need to escape first and then try again, I think.
That's what I was trying to do, but it does not work for some reason. Let me see. Now you lost probably my screen.
No?
It's still there? Okay.
Yeah, there.
Does it work now? You see here my myself. Actually, it's a picture of me some years ago. It was a little bit younger.
Not
Can
yet,
you
not
see
yet.
my screen?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eh?
you do not see my screen?
No.
No, still the same as it was the pictures of the king.
Yeah, the king and the sultan. So maybe you should leave the share contents and then, okay, you can try.
Let me see again then. For some reason, it does not work.
Mm-hmm.
let me put it like this. Share. For some reason, this I'm going wrong. This is still the first sheet. This is myself.
Not yet.
Do we see my screen or not? No?
No.
Okay, let me try again then. Okay.
Yeah, it's work.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's work.
But for some reason, okay. Is this now the other sheet, next sheet?
Yeah, contents.
Content?
Yes, good.
Okay, this is the contents of my talk. Sorry for the delay. So it is split in 3 parts. I will first talk about a little bit about the university and our department, mechanical engineering. Then I will talk about the main topic, that's the scientific excellence and how to establish that. And I will give an example of how I do that with the new project I have been working on metal fuels project and the innovation center I established for that some years ago. And I will end with some closing statements. So let me start with TU Eindhoven and mechanical engineering. As you all know, probably is that Eindhoven is one of the most innovative places in the world. It's not only according to me, but also Forbes said it a few years ago. So actually, we are in Eindhoven in the south here, in the brainport area, as we call it. So there's a lot of investment from very big companies around us. So you see here that Eindhoven, the Eindhoven's companies invest much more in R&D than the other big cities in the Netherlands, like Utrecht and Amsterdam. Actually, there's a very big concentration of very big companies there. You probably know all Philips Electronics, but also ASML, which is even a bigger company, and the other companies here. They're very, very highly concentrated around Eindhoven. So our university is not a big university. It is growing, but it's still something like 13,000 students altogether. It's a university of technology, of course. This means that not only engineering departments are there. We are in the top ranks of the university rankings. And one interesting topic is also that 92% of our students find a job within 6 months after graduation. So that's very, very fast. Where we are very proud of is that we are very good in collaborating with industry. As I said, we have a very high concentration of this industry around us. And actually, we are #1 in the world in collaboration with this industry. And if you look at, let's say, the co-publications of people from our departments with people from industry, if you look at that, we are #1 in the world. So we altogether have 9 departments in the university. One of them is mechanical engineering, and you see all the departments are related to engineering sciences. We also want to establish a green campus for a number of years. So we are building new buildings and we are creating new green areas around it. And what you see here is a very nice picture of the students walking, but also bicycling. Actually, all people in the Netherlands have a bike. Yeah? You know that all is. It's one of the things where we are very well known from in the world. What we also very much focusing on, this is something which is really high on the agenda of both departments and at the level of the, let's say, the board of the university, we are trying to create an inclusive community. So this means not only the ratio of females and males, because, you know, generally the number of females in engineering science is rather low, but we have been increasing, still lower than 30%, but it has been doubled over the last 5 to 6 years, both in terms of students as well as in faculty. So we are hiring a lot of female students, but not only we are looking into, let's say, gender inclusivity, but also all kinds of other, let's say, diversity parts. We are trying to improve that to create an inclusive community. And in fact, we are hiring a lot of, let's say, foreign assistant professors, associate professors as well, to get really all kinds of different people on board, which we believe is important for creating an international university with a top ranking. So the strategic priorities of our university are given here. First of all, we are looking, the most important thing is talent. So this is always the people, they matter most. And that's what we are looking at very much. We are looking for the best talent in the world, not only in terms of students, but also in terms of professors and researchers. This is very, very important, and not only, let's say, full professors, but also junior professors, young faculty, and we want to give them the floor to create their own visibility, to create their own groups and their own, let's say, research portfolio. Cooperation is the second part, which is in our blood, which is, of course, clear due to the fact that we are in a brainport region, where a lot of the graduates will end up with. Actually, 80% of all engineers graduated are ending up in the brainport region, so in the region with the departments, with the industry which I just mentioned. And finally, resilience is also very important for us. So what we are trying to do is make an organization in such a way that if we want to adapt our education or research or whatever, that we can change our organization rather rapidly. And that's what is, of course, important for if something happens outside, we can change rapidly to new situations. So in our Department of Mechanical Engineering, let us focus on that, one of the 9 departments of our university. It consists of, again, 3, let's say, sub-departments, one related to dynamical systems design, so systems and control, to be short. A second department is thermofluids engineering, let's say fluids and energy. And a third related to computational experimental mechanics, so let's say mechanics and materials. So these 3 pillars are the main pillars of our Department of Mechanical Engineering, of which I am the dean, as you already know. So these are the 3 different pillars in our department. And it should be clear also that we don't only have 9 departments with these disciplinary topics, but also cross-disciplinary institutes. So let's say we have a kind of matrix structures with the pillars being the disciplines and the horizontal cross-sections, the cross-disciplinary institutes on energy, on artificial intelligence, on materials, and on photonics and quantum.
Recording in progress.
So these institutes are running across all departments, and of course these are being formed, and they change also sometimes when the new let's say topics in the world come up, like now artificial intelligence really have been coming up. So we established this new institute, EASY as it's called. That's the second one, which is named below here, and this is running across the university, and the board of the university invests typically 6 million euros per year only in that institute to enforce that. So let me now continue with the next topic, and that is how to establish scientific excellence, at least that is in our view. And scientific excellence is sometimes seen as doing top research, writing top publications and top journals, and having high citations and patents maybe, but this is not the only thing. You need some a few elements more, in my view, to be really excellent. This is related to the excellence in connecting science to society, in teaching and guiding scientists in science management, and also in science advice to policymakers, for instance. So the science part, which is at the left here, the science part with the publications, citations, patents is then connected with what we call valorization, so that is the connection and contribution to society with industrial needs, with governments, and so on and so forth. The valorization part, and the third part would be the human capital part. So that would be the hiring and support, actually, of the young faculty, and especially focus on young, because these need the most support and mentoring, of course. So this is not only, let's say, hiring them, but also supporting them in the first career steps to be established as a new generation of scientists. So if you ask me what are the basic elements of scientific excellence, it always starts with the basis, and the basis is high impact scientific research. Always starts with that, and that is both in curiosity-driven research. So when really something new comes up and trickles the curiosity of a person, it should be really important to drive and to look for that. But also societal relevant themes are very important. That's the basis. But then next step would be to create high impact, not only high impact education, that is, not only with students, but also with student teams. And these student teams I'm very proud of that. I will tell a bit more later about how we deal with the student teams. This is a very specific, interesting topic, maybe also for you to understand and to adopt, maybe. The next step, in my view, would be to attract and develop excellent and diverse staff. And it would be the combination of both individual excellence, but also a team effort. So it's very good to have very, let's say, excellent people with high qualities, but they should also work together. You know, if you have a lot of excellent individuals, you don't have yet a department or a group which could work on a topic as a group. So team effort, team collaboration is always important within that. So we also look to that. How good is he or she in collaborating with others? Next step would be collaboration with industry. So that is, first of all, the large companies. The Brainport region consists of very large companies, billion-euro companies, but I'm also working with smaller companies, and mostly when I do that is with networks of let's say, companies, smaller companies. And this also has been very effective over the last years. The next step would be then to create societal impact. So take the lead and bring this new technology to the market in a triplex helix structure. This is what I've been doing in the last 10, 15 years, and it's has been very, very rewarding. And the next step is then taking the leading position, not only in academia, but also in the public debate, creating startups and spin-offs. So this is all what I advocate and have been working on in the last year. So in my view, scientific excellence is not only scientific excellence in science and education, but also in valorization, and excellent staff is very important. And these are very important elements to create scientific excellence. So let me say a few more words about the university's vision on valorization for the future to stimulate this process. First of all, we want to connect to society, of course, science to society. We also want to collaborate with strategic partners. We want to create societal impact on strategic partners by connecting them with the institutes, as I said before. We want to stimulate entrepreneurship and creating the financial opportunities for that. So the main tools to create that are given here below. So that is, of course, first of all, industry collaboration, which is, of course, also what all other universities do. They want to collaborate with industry, create spin-offs. This is also not specific. But we have some tools which are maybe interesting also for you. That is, First of all, the student teams, the part-time professors, which we hire from industry, and what we call the PhD plus PDN system. So these I want to explain a little bit further. First of all, industry collaboration. This is, of course, known to you. We have the institutes, which are the main drivers, the main institutes for this collaboration with institutes. For instance, earlier we had the Institute of Materials and the Institute of Polymers, where we create a lot of collaborations with big companies. So there's a very close collaboration of our PhD students and master students with these companies, which is of course very good. The next step, the next point is, let's see, is spin-off companies, as I mentioned. So in our department, these are some spin-off companies being created by our department in different areas. So in the microsurgery and medical devices area, but also in the process industry and engineering and design and automotive. There's only a few. I have been my fingers. I have been involved with Verturo, but also in Geek Power and several others which are not on the sheet here. But of course, it's very important that students, when they are graduated, they somehow and they have a good idea, maybe created during their master or during their PhD, that they continue with that. And we are stimulating and supporting these students by creating these spin-off companies, which is also very rewarding for the university in the end. Then the student teams. The student teams is something you might know, but maybe not. So let me say a few words about that. We have quite a number of student teams. I think about 50 student teams altogether. And here you see some of them which are from our mechanical engineering department. We have the solar team Eindhoven, which is a very big team. It consists of more than 100 students. And they are acting like a little bit like a company. So they do all kinds of things which a real company also does. From human resources, from research to development. And in the end, what they are creating every year is a new solar car. And they act in a competition in Australia with other teams. And who is the best? And you can believe me, but we have been winning quite a number of times this solar challenge in Australia. So the team creates a new car every year. So the team is creating a new car every year. For instance, Tech United is a student team consisting of students creating robots, soccer robots. And they have been, so we have a very good soccer team. You know that. We have been winning yesterday, 6-0. Maybe you didn't know, but we won 6-0. The Dutch, the real live Dutch football team won. But also our robot teams is very good in the world. They're top class. And they're building robots which communicate together and they play soccer. And this is very interesting. That's the Tech United team. One team of myself, which has been created by myself, is Team Solid, working on these metal fuels, and they are consisting of 30 students at the moment, 30 students. So that's a very big, let's say, group of students. And they act, as I said, independently. I only coach them from a distance, and they do their complete thing. They do their own things. That's student teams. I'm very proud and happy with them. The next thing which might be interesting is, and I'm also very, very, very proud of this, is the part-time professors from industry. You see 3 of my very good colleagues, Michael Lombok, Herbert Sondag, and Thijs de Groot. They are really, let's say, very top scientists, but they are working in industry and in the research institutes like Shell here and TNO, for instance. But they work with the company, a research center, but 1 day a week they work for the university. And this is very, very stimulating for our students. Of course, this creates a very good bond between our research and the companies, very, very good. And of course, it's also very, very rewarding for themselves, for the people. They like it really very much. To be 1 day a week free of all the duties from the industry, and coaching students and teaching students is really rewarding. But they like it very much. Actually, altogether, we have in our department about 80 staff members, full-time equivalent, but we have 50 of these part-time professors, so in our department alone. So you can imagine this is quite a big number in our university. The next point is the PhD program. So you all know the PhD program. It exists, I guess, all over the world. It's a 4-year program where you do fundamental research, or sometimes in collaboration with industry. In our university, it's quite a bit collaboration with industry. And in the end, the goal is to become an independent researcher, you know, and you get a PhD degree. You all know that. But we also have a PhD program, which is quite a bit similar. It's only a little bit shorter. It's a 2-year program. It's not related to fundamental research, but it's related to design. And it's the design or development of a design, and it's always in collaboration with industry. So, and again, they become really a top designer in a technological sense. So, and they get a PhD degree. And we also have, we have them, a lot of them. So these are the 3 elements which are very important, let's say, for creating our scientific excellence. The next point, of course, apart from valorization, is of course the people, attracting, accommodating excellent people, as I said. And that is what we, how we do that is by introducing our recognition and award system. And the strategies in that is to focus not on quantity of research, not on the number of publications, for instance, but on the quality of education, research and education. We do promotion of professors not only based on research, but also education and impact. So generally, professors are promoted on the basis of their scientific, let's say, publications, but we also do that on the basis of education. Really good people working in education and scientific impact, societal impact, we also promote them to professors. There's always a balance between individual and the collective, of course. If you have a department, you don't want to have only professors on education. You want to have, let's say, a big number of professors on research, on science. But it's good to have a number of let's say 10% or 15% on that's professors on education, and also this number on impact. This creates a good, let's say, again, diverse community, not copies of each other, they're collaborating community of people with different kind of focus, and that's good for the let's say for the group and the partner. We stimulate also, of course, impact and academic leadership, and we especially look at the young research to be visible, to create their own group, and to become principal investigator. We stimulate them to be that. All right, so this is actually an example of Rick de Lange. Rick de Lange did his PhD long time ago. I think it was in '92. I was my first PhD student, actually. So a long time ago. I finished now about 52 PhD students. He was my first. And he's recently became a professor, not only on science, he's a good scientist, but he's even better in educational innovation. He has been done a huge number of very good things in terms of educational innovation. So he has been professor in that area, as just an example. And I like this example because he was one of my students. As I said, we are really focusing on the young researcher, so we also have a young researcher network. And you see here the group last year, and they created a platform for open discussions together with them. And they have a discussion with the board of the university, with the board of the departments to show what they want, they would like to see at the university. We ask them for advice and policies regarding the university, and so on and so forth. So this is also very good. So they really contribute a lot to the, let's say, the policy of the university, because the university is, of course, there also, especially for them, the young researchers. I'm an old professor and I will retire in a few years, but these young scientists will be there for a long time. So we should support them in all the best we can. So let me now, let's say, show the practice of what I'm preaching, and that is related to the metal fuels topic I just already mentioned, and Metalot Innovation Center, which I created to get the lab to society and industry. Yes, I hope it still works. Yes. So actually, in around 2015, we discovered something very interesting for me. So this was basic research, and we did that together with a number of other, let's say, universities in Europe, especially, but also McGill University in Canada. And we discovered that it is possible to burn metal powders in a very clean and efficient way. I know, and I'm a combustion scientist for many, many years, so I do know that you can burn metals. I know that for a very long time, but I didn't know yet that you could burn it in a clean and efficient way. And this was for me an enormous eye-opener. And after some discussions with this group of scientists, and I drove back home, in an evening in my car, I was sitting and I was thinking, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change completely my research topic. So I changed my research topic from combustion of hydrocarbons, fossil fuels and hydrogen to metal powders. I did that in 2016. I stimulated my colleagues, Niels Deen, for instance, which was mentioned this morning already, but many others at the university to do that together with me, to, let's say, be able to do this full cyclic process. And I also knew already that there was no industry doing this. There's no industry who is building metal burners. So we have to do that ourselves. That's what I thought. So I thought, look, let's start an innovation center, Metalot, to bring this all to the market and create these companies. As let's say a launching board to create new companies. Now, if you look back, and I was sitting in my table yesterday evening, I was thinking, where are we now? We are now with about 10 staff members, including 3 new professors, and about 20 PhDs and postdocs at the university working on this topic alone. And we have, I think that we are world leading if you would count it like that in terms of at least size, but also our publications are coming out now in a very good way. I'm very proud of what we have established in science so far. We have our student team solid with 30 students. We have the first spin-off being created called Renewable Iron Fuel Technology, and many bachelor's and master's students working with it. And Metalot is now created on the basis of large-scale energy storage, not only metal fuels, but we extended that to hydrogen and batteries. And so far we have projects up to 10 million euros for projects to scale up the technology. So this is where we are now. So what are we talking about? Metal powders. Well, metal powders, for instance, iron powder, I think that it's an energy carrier. It's a way to carry energy. It's a fuel, you could also say that. And I have a dream that in 10 to 20 years, it always starts with dreaming. You know, scientists should always dream. And the dreams you should try to follow. And I have the dream that we can create a new world where we change the heavy fossil fuels, for instance, heavy fuel oil, to iron powder. That we can replace the coal-fired power plants where we blow in coal to replace that by iron power. And that we also are able in a number of years to import sustainable energy from areas far away from the Netherlands where there's a lot of energy to the Netherlands for our industry and our coal plants. And of course, I also have the dream that the university, the Metalot and the Netherlands will play a big role in this transition, part of the transition, energy of transition. Of course, the major impact will be the fact that iron fuel, when you burn it, creates no CO2. That's the main thing, is CO2 free. So this was very stimulating for me, and that was the reason why I decided in the car at that time that I would change my topic, because it's actually really interesting and new, not done before. Of course, a lot of people, when you talk about burning metals, they don't believe you. Metals don't burn. Iron doesn't burn. Yes, it does burn. Look, this is a methane flame, the first flame. It's a methane is just natural gas. You know, it has a flame with a temperature of about 2000 centigrade. And look here, all these other metals, iron, aluminum, boron, excuse me, zirconium, they also burn. And some are burning very, very fiercely, very high temperatures. And you see iron is very interesting because it has a similar kind of temperature than methane. So that's why I'm focusing mostly on iron. And also because of the fact that you can burn it in a nice way, a clean way, as I said before. So they are, yes, metals burn. Very good, actually. And you can also, when you do it correctly, and that's the trick, that's what we want to learn and want to understand, how to burn it efficiently and clean. Because it is doable, but if you don't do it properly, then of course you will get a lot of, again, nanoparticles and things you don't want in the atmosphere, and then you, of course, you didn't win anything. So this is actually the process. You start in the left with sustainable energy, like solar energy, wind energy, and you use an electrolyzer, for instance, to create hydrogen, just as a simple way. Then by using this hydrogen with iron oxide, rust, if you would say, you can make iron particles actually. This iron is then transported to places where you want to use this energy later, in a place and on a time when you need this energy. And when you need this energy, you burn this iron powder again in the flames you just saw, with air, for instance, to iron oxide again. And you catch the iron oxide and you ship that back to the place where you have your reduction system, actually where you have your energy. There's where you want to produce your fuel, right? So you want to produce your iron powder. So this is a cyclic way of using energy. And the nice thing is, in this reaction of iron with air, you don't only create iron oxide, but a lot of heat. And this heat you can use, for instance, for generating electricity, for coal-fired power plants, for ships, and so on and so forth, which I was just mentioned. So a very interesting cyclic fuel. So what are we doing? Well, we are doing research to understand this and to look into detail. Actually, we have a burner at the university, which is just the first burner is just a very small burner. You make a fountain of powder, and then the top of the fountain, we ignite the flame, and you get a very nice millimeter-sized flame. And the nice thing of this is that you can look with lasers all kinds of directions, and you can understand and all the details of this process in very much detail. And that's what we are doing at the moment. But from this flame, you can create bigger burners, like a tornado swirl burner, which we developed. It's a kind of new combustion technology, and also a low swirl burner, which is a little bit bigger. And in fact, what we do at the university, look at these small-scale systems, small-scale flames to understand, to make models, to experiments and publish, of course, with a lot of PhD students, the PhD students I was talking about. This is what we do at the university. And this is let's say, the systematic project we have. We start, this is actually a project which I won of 2.5 million euros last year of the European Research Council, a very prestigious grant which I received last year. So we start with let's say, the study of single particles in very much detail, and we actually do already understand quite a bit of this process, single particle process, both experimentally and numerically. Then we go on and see whether we create a flat flame, let's say a planar flame which propagates like a natural gas flame, both numerically and experimentally. And in the end, a complete complex turbulent flame is let's say, a combination of all this kind of flamelet elements, and this is what we are doing also. So altogether, we studied this multi-scale process, as we call it, and we do that also on the reduction with my colleagues, Niels Deen and Giulia Finitello, for instance. They study the reduction. That is, when you have burned the iron powder, you're creating the iron oxide, and if you have the iron oxide, you bring that back to the iron. So to make it really cyclic. That's what Niels Deen and the others are doing to make it really cyclic. But we are not only doing science in the university, we're also scaling it up. And this is one of the first projects of Metalot, the Innovation Center I was talking about. This is a 100 kilowatt system with, which we have been developing together with a lot of companies, which you see here, and being subsidized by the province here in North Brabant, that's in the south of the Netherlands, Team Solid, as I said, and all the companies here. So it's a 13 meter long, it's 3 meters high and 3 meters wide, and you have all the elements which are being there. So you have a dispersion system. Here's the iron powder, which is blown coupled with air into an aerosol. It's a kind of, let's say, dust cloud which you blow into the burner here, and if you ignite this dust cloud, you're getting this flame of 2000 centigrade almost, as I said before. This flame is here, and then it's burning here. It's also cooled down a bit to make sure that this cyclone is just a vacuum, very big vacuum cleaner, if you want, to get out the iron oxide or the rust. These are small particles, and you like a vacuum cleaner, you can, with a rotating vacuum cleaner, you can collect all the dust particles again, which are now dropping down here below. And the hot gases, they are going to the boiler, which is here, and at the right, to create steam. So we start from iron and we end up with steam here. And actually, here you see in the window, the turbulent flame, all the particles coming by which are burning. The iron flame is reddish, so you can see it here. And then, if you don't believe it, that it makes steam, this is a steam which is being produced by the burner. And actually, last year, in October, we had a very big demonstration with the Bavaria brewery. Bavaria is a brewery here in the Netherlands, the south of the Netherlands, where we produced our first CO2-free beer, of course. This was very big in the news all over the world, actually. It was being catched up by many newspapers, and still getting reactions at this time, actually. So it was very, very interesting. All right, so this was the first burner. Now, at the moment, we have been shipping this 100 kilowatt burner back to Metalot. That's our future energy lab of Metalot, which you can see here. It is housing this system, but we are creating and building new ones, and also reduction systems. They are big reduction systems. They are too big to be housed at the university, and they are here at the Metalot site, where we can, where the students collaborate with the companies who come there also, and have a, let's say, very interesting, stimulating atmosphere between, let's say, the students, the companies, the researchers, and so on and so forth. So this is the Metalot organization. I am the founder, but also the person managing the science, of course, and we have some other people. Some other people helping me out, Erik Langerijs and Jan Vlasak, as the financial and managing director. What we do really is provide missing link in the development of and energy to bring that to society. So at the university, do fundamental research.
Prof. Hatan, bocor. Sorry. Prof. Hatan.
Thank you very much. So what Metalot is doing is creating the bridge, actually the missing link between the fundamental research at the university and the market. So we are filling up this gap in technology readiness level 4 and 7, scaling up, and bringing it really to practice. That's what we are trying to do with Metalot. And here you see how it works. We have a foundation, Stichting as it's called in the Netherlands. It's a triple helix foundation, so people from industry, from governments, and from academia are sitting into the foundation as the board. And there's a Metalot holding company and a Metalot Future Energy Lab, and this where we do the real work, the technology scaling up, and so on and so forth. The IP, intellectual property protection, and so on. This is done within the Metalot holding company. And we have 3 teams, as I already mentioned. The first team is metal power, so that's the metal fuels I was talking about, but we're also working on hydrogen systems and battery systems. So everything related to storage of sustainable energy in the future and for the big scale. That's the, let's say, the main generic topic. So the metal power team is intended to focus on applications for heat-intensive industry, for instance. With Shell, we are working with Shell, but also with Uniper for creating energy. They have a very big coal-fired power plant in Rotterdam, where we're working on Bavaria, I already mentioned. So these are the typical applications we are working on the metal power. So this is the roadmap we have been establishing. This is the first step you already saw. This is the Lighthouse Metal Power Project, 100 kilowatt, which we showed at the brewery. We are now building the next system. It is 500 kilowatts. We will again show that at Bavaria. This is the money we already collected here. Actually, besides this, we have also reduction systems, several reduction systems which we are building and showing to the world at the moment. We are together with Uniper, Aeon, a very big company producing energy in the west of the Netherlands, Rotterdam, The Hague, Leiden, and that area, Delft, is to produce a system in the city. And the reason is that for Rotterdam, they don't want to store energy like hydrogen in a very crowded area. Hydrogen is a very interesting fuel for the future, but it's also quite tricky to use and to store. It's not so dense as metals, and it's also much more easy to ignite, so it's maybe a bit dangerous. So we are designing a 20 million euro city plant system within Rotterdam, Uniper, also with the harbor of Rotterdam, where we have the reduction system to reduce the metals again. And for the longer term, we are working on, let's say, importing iron powder from countries where there's a lot of sun, a lot of wind, because in due time, the energy price and the hydrogen price will be much cheaper in countries where there's a lot of sun and a lot of wind, like Australia, maybe also Indonesia, I don't know. But in any case, when there's a lot of sun and a lot of wind, these are potential exporters or countries of this sustainable energy in the form of powders, which is very interesting, I think. And on the longer term, we are looking also on the let's say replacement of coal to metal powders, and we have already two or three students been working on that at the moment. So this is the ecosystem we want to create. Is not only combustion, where we burn the metal, but we also at the power plant, but also the regeneration, where we want to bring the oxide powder again back to iron, and all the logistics and all the elements around it. These are part of the ecosystem. What Metalot is trying to do is combine all the ecosystem partners together and create a community to launch this ecosystem in the future. That's what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm talking a lot with all these companies to get them interested and to get them involved in our projects. A second team within Metalot is a hydrogen team. Of course, hydrogen is a very key element, and everybody is walking and talking about hydrogen. And the reason is that it's the simplest molecule you can create from electrons when you have too much of them. Let's say if you have surplus of electrons, a lot of electricity, sustainable energy, you can create hydrogen from it. And this hydrogen you can, of course, directly use, but you can also combine that with CO2 into fuels again, synthetic fuels, but you can also use these hydrogen, as I said before, in the metals to create metal fuels for the industry and also for the transport, the big ships, for instance. So hydrogen is also very interesting fuel, and we're also studying that, also because it's related to the metal fuel. So we are looking into hydrogen production, also hydrogen application. Together with the province, we are trying to create Metalot as the hydrogen hub in the province. We are also creating a hydrogen infrastructure in our lab, so that we can do, let's say, large-scale experiments with hydrogen, which is very difficult to establish normally. So this is the basis of our Metalot hydrogen ecosystem. So these are the partners involved at the moment related to hydrogen. So there's a lot of partners already. Then the third theme and last theme is the theme on batteries. The theme on batteries, so we are looking at large-scale energy storage like liquid metals batteries, but also flow batteries like we have here, and we're also creating a Metalot battery ecosystem on that sense, for that sense. Let me go on. Yes. So how do we achieve all these ecosystems? Well, this is what we call the Metalot collaboration model. In the Metal Future Energy Lab, we aim to accelerate the energy transition by pursuing and finalizing new and promising technology. So the goal is to look at new technologies, and we take them by the hand, and we create new value chains by combining the academia with the knowledge institutes, companies, and to create future visions. How are they going to be applied in the future? And together, on the basis of these future visions, we create new combined projects, concrete projects, and develop these practical systems together with these consortia companies, and to create also joint developed IP, intellectual property. So this is the strategy we form, and which has been quite successful so far. So where are we now? We have been taking a few interesting steps. Our fundamental research on combustion and reduction of the metals has taken some good steps in the last few years. So I'm very happy with that, but also within the Metalot, we have been doing applied research and scaling up. The Metalot FEL has been started and has been glowing and blowing so far. And the ecosystem, IP governance, and spin-off launching is under construction, but it's being built at the moment, actually. So, well, this is some highlights. We have, as I said, an extensive network of companies here, including investors who are looking with us. We established about 10 million euros of funding for all these projects. We have regular Metalot meets, so that would be small colloquia on specific themes, where we have visitors. When it has been in the COVID time, has been difficult, but just before COVID, it was of course going well. So at the moment, Metalot collaborates with a lot of students, including student teams, Solid Core, and others. And we have a first startup already in the first few years. So this brings me to the end of my talk. Let me close by saying and repeating that scientific excellence is not only, let's say, writing good publication, doing basic research and publishing that. No, it's much more than that. If you really want to make impact and make a sustainable research line, then it's important that valorization and the human capital, so young researchers' attention is really important as well. So valorization is a crucial step to bring this research to a higher level to society, and I think that it could be done by companies, but I think that the researchers can play a very good role into that. Actually, the researchers, they are really trusted. Like I noticed that other companies trust me, and that's why I think that researchers are also very important as a step as an to bring this to the higher level. And then the next point is managing and promoting and mentoring young academia. I mentioned that already. It's very important. Finally, I have shown, I think, that a strong proof of concept followed by a collaboration and research collaboration becomes key steps for broadening the research and institution. So, thank you very much for your attention, and I guess you have questions for me as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor De Goy, for the inspired speech and talks today. I really enjoy very much your presentations. And then from your presentation, some important keyword or point can be highlighted as follows. First is valorization. Second is how can we develop young human capital, and that's the last is a very important point is how can you deliver the basic scientific research become a product and become the new industry, the practical example from Metalogs. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 15 minutes for the discussions. I think we have a lot of questions and discussion also with the Professor De Goy. If you have any comments, please state your name and your department. Okay, please. Yeah. Dr. Ahmad Ataka is raised hand. You can ask your question directly.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dindar. Is my voice clear?
Yes,
right.
I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. De Goy, for your very interesting talk. I have actually one question regarding about the successful collaboration that TU Eindhoven has made with industry. Because I think in my observation, sometimes there is different perspective between academia and industry. Like in academia, we want to publish as many papers as possible, as quickly as possible, while industry tends to, protect their idea and maybe want to create patent instead. And sometimes also industry is quite rigid in their timeline, planning, execution, while we know that research sometimes is not a linear process. So we are happy to have like more room for exploration. So in your experience, how to balance between these two different perspectives? Thank you very much.
Okay, next, maybe we can collect the question first, Professor De Goy. The second question from Dr. Indra Permana. Okay, Dr. Indra, time is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Din, Prof. De Goy. Thank you very much for a very nice presentation. I just want to ask you a question. From your presentation, you highlight that it is very important to have impact on the society from our research. I just want to ask you whether this kind of performance is also part of evaluation when the people in TU and Eindhoven want to get promotions. Thank you very much.
Okay, Professor De Goy, you can answer the question also.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the questions. They're very good questions, actually. Indeed, let me start with the second question on impact. It is true that, let's say, generally, formally, people are being judged by their CVs in terms of, let's say, number of publications, citations, and so on and so forth. But that's exactly what we are trying to change. So we think that doing research is much more than only publications and citations. It's actually much richer than that. Good research, good teaching, good collaboration with industry, all these elements are very, very important to be a good scientist, I think. And what we are trying to do now is to introduce also these elements into the CVs. And we are promoting, as I said before, also professors on their impact and also professors on their education. So actually one of my former PhD students, Professor De Lange, he has been promoted because of excellence in education. And I think we have also a person in our midst who could be promoted to a professor in terms of his valorization. So indeed, and what you need then, of course, the problematic thing is that numbers you can count, publications you can count, citations you can count, and how to count or measure, let's say, impact. That's much more difficult. You can, of course, measure patents or measure spin-offs and so on and so forth. I don't think we should measure and count. The only way to, let's say, promote people is to with peer review. You know, people write down what they did in the certain areas, and that's what we are doing. They write down what we did in research, what they write down in education, what they done in impact, what they done in scientific leadership. And on the basis of their CV and on their writing it, that it's being evaluated by the peers in the promotion committee, and then a person is being promoted or not. That's how it works in our, at least that's why we are trying to establish it at the moment. We're changing this culture of only counting publications and citations. Actually, I tend to leave out the citations and publications, because you just focusing on quantity of publications is not good. It should be, I am much more in favor of one very good publication, with high impactful publication, than 3 which are not so good. So I'm preaching to be a little bit more limited in numbers, but use quality, and not only one element of quality, but much more elements of excellence. So this is how we are going to work. I'm actually working for a time now, and we learn, of course, we will learn whether this is going to work or not, but this is at least what we are trying to do and trying to establish. The other question was, let's say, the friction maybe you have between academia and industry. And what is said and asked before, it's true, of course, that the goal of a research is different from a goal of industry. And this is just a question of being patient, you know. You have to learn to know each other, respect each other, and to understand why industry is asking this. And the industry, and also time for the industry to understand what you are and just discuss it. And I've been learning over the years that just being in discussion, explaining what you want, and open your mind, be in discussion, also listen what they want, then you come a lot further. And that's the key of success. Open communication, and trying to understand, not rushing into fast publication, and so on and so forth. Investing in people, investing in relationships, investing in industry collaboration. That's, I think, the key.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Teguh. We have still one question from Dr. Budi Hartono. Dr. Budi, time is yours.
Thank you, Prof. Dean. Thank you, Prof. Teguh, for the very inspiring speech here. You mentioned just now that the importance of mentoring young academia. So, if you don't mind, would you please provide some more elaboration on how the day-to-day practices, or maybe best practices on doing so? Yeah, especially in your research group. Thank you very much.
Okay. Maybe one question also from Dr. Adhika. Dr. Adhika, please. Still mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your very, very interesting discussion, Professor. Can you hear me? Okay.
No.
Yes.
Okay. The sound cut out. I'm very interested in your research on the metal fuels, and you began that in 2016, as you said, and the progress seemed very rapid from these last 5 years, and it's observing that you started from relatively scratch, and you developed an incredible research group. Do you have can you elaborate on your how do I say, tips and tricks on how to develop such an advanced research group in such a short time? Because it's really amazing.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for the questions. They are very, very interesting indeed. So about the metal fuel project, it's true that I don't know what it is, but for some reason people believe me, and I believe it in my. I mean, if you're a scientist and you believe in something, radiate that, show that to the world, show that to your people. And I have been inspiring my environment, people around me, a lot of people, actually students and staff members, to work with me and to work together and to find a joint goal. Also together with the industry, trying to find the joint goals. Where are we going to be together? And if you can do that, be inspiring to people and inspiring to others, this helps a lot. People come along, and then of course everybody will run with you or work with you, and then you're getting a kind of a avalanche. You know, it's I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So once you find common ground and you can transmit that energy, and things will develop by themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly what you try to find the common ground. People tend to, I mean, if you're inspired by something, open up your mind and talk to people and try to find the common ground and use that as a fertilizer for continuing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next look from Dr. Budi, how to say best practices for the mentoring program.
Let's say the other question, can I still say something about the mentoring?
Yeah.
So actually what we are trying, I mean, a university is not a building, you know. University is the people. And let's say the young people are the future. So that's my message. So what we are trying to do is put the young people at the forefront. And this is what we do is when we appoint them, we give them already some money for first PhD students. We give them lab space. We pay a lot of attention to them. We create a mentor who is helping the person in his development or her development, and is really looking at the profile of that person, helping him or her in his career. And this is let's say the key of these mentoring young people, to really talk with them and take them along with their own wishes and their own future.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Dekoi. Actually, I'm sure there are a lot of raised hands come to me, but from your side, we have limited time, right? And we have limited around 1 hour and a half for this very nice webinar series. Nevertheless, the time is limited. Therefore, we should close our sessions. And to express our gratitude to Professor Dekoi, let's provide a big applause for his very nice presentation. Thank you very much, Professor Dekoi. From our side, we hope that this webinar series will be the first time or the initiating step for our further collaboration and fruitful for longer collaboration between Universitas Gadjah Mada and Eindhoven University of Technology. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all again. Actually, the first seeds are already planted because two of your PhD students are working in our group on the metal fuels, both on the combustion and the reduction already. So this will hopefully will be growing and trees in the future of science and create our joint let's say future.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, in our thermal fluid research group in our department, we plan to build strong research group in metal fuel and multi-phase flow and turbulence and combustion engineering research group. And I hope we can start a new link between our institutions and publicate for stronger publication. And the most important is impact of our work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you. Have a good day.
I will let the time for the Moses to close the session. Okay, Moses, now is your time.
We thank you very much, Professor Dekoi and Professor Dean Darlianto. It was such an awesome and comprehensive presentation, and the discussion is very detailed. Right now, moving right along, we'll hear the closing statements from the Engineering Faculty Senate Secretary. Please welcome Dr. Leni Sofia Heliani.
Thank you very much, Moses. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Excellencies Professor Philip Dubois, Dean of Department of Mechanical Engineering, Technical University Eindhoven, Professor Sudaryono, Chair of the Faculty of Engineering Senat, Professor Selo, our new Dean of Faculty of Engineering, the Honorable all of Senate members, Vice Dean, Head of Department, Study Program, all faculties members. Very good morning for Professor Philip Dubois and good afternoon for us in Indonesia. From the presentation and discussion session, we had a very great time. On behalf of the Senate of the Faculty of Engineering, we would like to highly appreciate and thank you very much to Professor Philip Dubois for very interesting and important topic of presentation and discussion. The research and education system in higher education level is continuously developing to reach scientific excellence, which can adapt in multiple areas. The system at some point is also facing some excellent challenges due to the technological disruption in the recent years. A novel, adaptive, and innovative approach to product an excellent situation of both research and education outcome for the university is essentially needed. For the case of the polarization of Technical University Eindhoven mentioned by Professor Philip Dubois, the stimulate process are connects science to the society and industry, collaboration with a strategic partner, social impact stimulating entrepreneur, and also creating financial opportunities. With the main tools, industry collaboration, spin-up student teams, part-time professor, PhD, and PD, INGS program. And also the talk closed nicely by statement that the scientific excellence is multi-phase process, polarization is crucial step, and managing, promoting, and mentioning our young academic staff is very important and strong proof of concept, collaboration, research, and ecosystem, and burden of the research is very important. Us, in the Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Gadjah Mada, as a big and oldest faculty of UGM, we are expected to have entered the leadership stage as a pioneer that excel in innovative and providing answer not only for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but also for social humanitarian problems. By developing prominent scientific and educational architecture, Faculty of Engineering of UGM is expected to be able to present as a part of solution for the society. Again, thank you very much for Professor Philip Dubois. So far, we have been good cooperation between Department of Mechanical Engineering, TU Eindhoven, and Faculty of Engineering, including some of our young staff continuing their study at your department. We sincerely hope that in the near future, this collaboration will be even stronger and can provide the greatest benefit to both of our institution and sustainable environment, also the community's welfare. And thank you very much also to all of the Senate members for your time to participate of our third workshop. As mentioned by our chairman in the welcome speech, that we have a noble task to follow up all of the results of our discussion into a policy that useful for direction of development of the Faculty of Engineering. Thank you also to Head of Department, to the Head of the Study Program, Head of the Laboratories and Research Group for your participants. Hopefully we can use this result of our discussion this afternoon for faculty and department development. And the last but not least, thank you very much for the young lecturer of Faculty of Engineering. We also invite to this event. The understanding of what the scientific excellence in higher education and how it is implemented, as mentioned by Professor Philip Dubois, that the university is not a building, but university is the people. And one of the key points in is the managing, promoting, and mentoring young academics, because our institution, as we know that our future of our faculty The future of our faculty or even the world is in your hand. The young generation of lecturer in Faculty of Engineering. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Leni Sopo, for the closing statement.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our webinar today. Again, it is always a pleasure having you, Professor De Goey. We send our warmest thank you, and we hope we will meet again in the future for our future collaboration with our institutions.
I hope so too. Thank you very much. Thank you
Yes,
again.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, Philip, as well.
Thank you.